And we are back. Appreciate y'all for tapping in with us on this Martin Luther King edition of Doin Alright Draft edition. Bryan Broaddus, thank you very much, sir, for being with me. We appreciate y'all for tapping in. We ain't doing nothing else, man. Man, Bryan, we got a lot to talk about. It's gonna be a long show, y'all. We might talk for an hour. I don't know.
Yeah.
If you don't like your 9 to 5, your 1 to 2 about to be the shit, boy, because we got some talking to do. Bryan. We got 3 big umbrella topics that we kind of want to get into.
Yeah.
We're going to get into them, but we got some coaching breaking news this morning. Me and you was kind of going back and forth a little bit, and all the coaching dominoes are kind of going to, like, once a big one falls, like all the rest of them kind of going to fall into place, but we keep adding dominoes. We keep putting dominoes up. In Buffalo,
right?
Sean McDermott got fired.
He did.
Out of here.
Yeah.
And you know how the internet work, man. The first thing they do is they tag us to the post.
Sure they do.
Voch, they still tagging Bryan Broaddus, by the way.
Oh no, yeah.
So please don't buy no crypto.
Yeah.
But Voch, Bryan Broaddus, Crown Global. Basically, how does the Sean McDermott firing, does it affect anything that the Cowboys are looking at? How does it affect the grand scheme of things, right? And me and Bryan we're kind of going back and forth, and I don't think that you're gonna land Sean McDermott as a coordinator. I think you got a ton of interesting head coaching jobs that these I got fired from a good team head coach guys would want to be shooting for, right? The Harbaugh, Tomlin, Sean McDermott crowd is different than the Mike McDaniel crowd.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Some of those guys got to go be coordinator somewhere. Raheem Morris probably going to end up coordinating somewhere. Some of these other guys taking head coaching jobs. Now, what does open up is if it's a disciple on Sean McDermott's coaching tree, then yeah, maybe the Cowboys will be interested and reach out to one of those guys. But the Cowboys been doing some damn good interviews, and the Broncos ones, so you still kind of waiting on that Jim Leonhard piece to fall, Bryan. So it's a lot of action, man. I feel like in past years, it was like, all right, we talked to Ron Rivera, we talked to Marvin Lewis, all right, let's hire our guy. I think the Cowboys are in this situation, and me as a Cowboy fan, I'm 33 years old, Bryan. You've been a part of many of these, but just me, I haven't been a part of, this the 3rd week now?
Yeah.
I haven't been a part of a 3-week search where we looking for guys, you know? Like when Marinelli walked away, it was immediately Chris Richard. It was immediately somebody else. When Mike McCarthy came in, it was immediately Dan Quinn. We didn't get a whole bunch of interview like this, Bryan.
Yeah, the closest one might have been, and you were fandom,
yes,
but it was when they hired Wade Phillips.
Yes, sir.
They interviewed, there was probably 4, 5, 6 guys that they interviewed for the head coaching job, and then it ended up being Wade Phillips. That was probably the last time that we've seen this extensive of a coaching search.
Sure. Bryan, we're kind of talking backstage about how you think the Cowboys should navigate these waters.
Yeah.
With the Cowboys having some in-person interviews recently. Do you hang around, Bryan? Do you put your foot forward? Do you wait around on Jim Leonhard? I think just based on what we've been hearing, we got some friends that's close by there. I think they like all the interviews they've been having so far. I think if Vegas was to put something up, Jim Leonhard might be the favorite.
Sure.
There are the rumors that he's looking at the Giants job with Harbaugh or whatever, Bryan. How do you think the Cowboys should move forward in all this?
Well, this is where I'm at right now with the Jim Leonhard interview. And the fact that Jim Leonhard he took the Zoom interview with you to kind of get a feel about him as a person, to kind of get an idea if they want to bring him in as a potential in-person interview. I think the in-person interview is more in the lines with Stephen Jones and Jerry Jones. Yeah. I think that's where the in-person candidates are going to be able to present their case in front of the owner, the general manager. This is where I'm at with the Jim Leonhard one, though, Voch. Mm-hmm. With the things that are happening right now, and when Jim Leonhard interviewed, you didn't have John Harbaugh hired by the New York Giants. Yeah. And obviously there's a connection between Leonhard and Harbaugh for that Giants job. If I'm the Dallas Cowboys, if I'm Brian Schottenheimer, Jerry Jones, Stephen Jones, I'm going to Jim Leonhard's agent and I'm saying, listen, if your intent is to take that Giants job once your season's done in Denver, tell us now. Yeah. Tell us now.
Help us out. Help us out.
Help us out. If we appreciate you interviewing. We appreciate your interest. If your intent is to take that Giants job, tell us now so we can move forward with our other interviews. And I would just ask it as a professional courtesy. Now, maybe you'll get Jim Leonhard and his camp saying, no. We want to talk to you. Mm-hmm. If that's the case, I'm more than willing to do all these interviews and then him be the last one. Yeah. I'm willing. Now you'll say, well, wait a minute, Bryan, what about if you lose? We really haven't seen, we've seen some of these coaches that they've talked to a little bit of interest.
Sure.
But not to the point. But you and I were talking this morning. There's now 7 head coaching jobs that have opened up.
And some of them are for like massive teams with franchise quarterbacks already in place. Right. Some attractive jobs.
Yeah, some very attractive jobs. So if those teams were to hire it looks like that Kevin Stefanski, he took the job with Jeff Ulbrich already on staff. So that's kind of where that's at right now. So there's not many of those. But once these head coaching dominoes start to fall, then you might lose some of these guys. But I would right off the jump today, I would ask Jim Leonhard's agent or Jim Leonhard himself, listen, if your intent is to take the Giants job, please let us know that. And that way we can move on to other candidates.
If you had to assume, we don't know nothing. You might know, but we ain't got to tell them that. If you had to assume, would you imagine that the Cowboys want to get this thing done sooner or later? Like they want to, look, let's get this done now so we can start talking about personnel and get into what we're doing.
Yeah.
Or do we want to keep waiting for dominoes and talk to some more people or whatnot, Bryan? What do you think do you think the Cowboys are frustrated at the idea that they can't pull Leonhard right now?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I don't. I think they're cool with the candidates they've talked to, and I think that they're I do think that you and I talked about the Jeff Ulbrich one. I think that was one that they really wanted to see if they can get.
Sure.
I think there was a Dan Quinn influence there to Schottenheimer about that, and I think they really wanted to talk to this guy.
Yeah.
I'm okay with the patience part of things. I think that if you look at, we've got bowl season coming up. We've got the Senior Bowl stuff. We've got the East-West games coming up, and then then you'll have the combine. You'll have a coach in place. Mm-hmm. Hopefully you'll have a coach in place. But I'm more interested right now in getting this thing right. Mm-hmm. If I'm the Cowboys, than kind of hustling along and saying make sure that in fact that Jim Leonhard, if he's a legitimate, if you want him as your defensive coordinator, make sure that he tells you no. Or make sure you have the opportunity. As long as he tells me that he's in the mix, then I'm gonna wait him out. Now, there could be a possibility where we lose him to the Giants. Yeah. You wait all this time, and then now you lose him to the Giants anyway. But I'm going to make him tell me that. But I think they're comfortable with the guys that they've talked to so far in order to go forward with this process. And then I think they're comfortable if they had to hire one of these coaches. I think they would be just fine with that.
And that's something that the one thing that I'm worried about, because there has to be balance in this whole thing.
Sure.
I would hate for them to wait for Leonhard, don't get Leonhard.
Yeah.
But because they waited so long, Durante Jones went inside somewhere else.
Yeah.
And Christian Parker went to go sign. And they like those guys. But they all gone. So now we sitting up here like, all right, well, we lost 3 of our candidates because we was hanging around kicking. I do think there needs to be like a middle ground where they go ahead and get this shit out the way.
Yeah.
Maybe not rush it, but if they really like the candidates that they have, they can't just be, pigeonholed into well, man, we waiting on Jim, man, but Broncos keep winning games. You know what I'm saying? We just can't be waiting that long, Bryan.
Yeah, that's the thing about it is, and that's why I'm trying to kind of get an idea about with Leonhard's situation. Mm-hmm. I would hope that if Jim Leonhard really wanted to talk to me and is really interested in my job, then we have a real shot at this thing. Yeah. I hope he's not holding me up to make things a little bit more enticing that the Giants have to pay him more money. Now listen, I mean, let me ask you this: do you feel like a guy because immediately with Sean McDermott now in the mix?
Yes, sir.
Man, he's a candidate for every one of these jobs and head coaching jobs. But we're also, they haven't talked to Brian Flores. Mm-hmm. They haven't talked to Jim Schwartz.
The Cowboys haven't.
And there's a side of me that believes that they're not talking to Brian Flores, and this is going to sound wild.
Sure.
The money. I don't
give them the money.
Yeah. No, but I don't think that in this, and I know people are going to hate me for saying this,
sure,
but nobody's told me this, but I have a feeling that what it's going to require to get Brian Flores here money-wise, compensation-wise, is similar to what you're probably paying Brian Schottenheimer to be your head coach.
See, Brian, let me ask you this. Like, you think that's the reason why they haven't talked to none of these old man coaches? Because, look, it's like...
I think the old man coaches are up for these positions.
Because, look, if it's like, okay, if I can't get Flores, I can get Jones. If I can't get Fangio, I'll try to get Leonard. I think they're going for all the the disciples on the tree.
Yeah.
If I can't get what's the name from Philly, I'll get Parker. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think they going for all the understudy guys, all the young guys. Now, is that because they're going to be cheaper, or you think that it's something?
I don't want to believe that it's going to be a cheaper thing, but this seems to me. I wonder if the thing with Flores is Brian Flores going to come in here and tell you that your scheme is terrible, your players are terrible, and you're going to have to pay me, and you're going to have to go buy a bunch of players. And I wonder if Stephen Jones doesn't want to do that. Mm-hmm. But if I'm a coach coming in here and Jerry Jones likes to talk about the bones, he feels like they got the bones on defense. We feel like we got the bones. Boy, I disagree with him so much there.
Yeah.
I disagree with him so much there. I think there's, if you're looking at this team and you're a defensive coordinator and you walk in here and you say, listen, you need 5-6 new players here. I've looked at your team, scheme. You want me to run this scheme, or you want me to coach these guys up? I think that they're looking at the younger coach. I think they're looking at the younger coach because they don't want the older coach walking in here who's got skins on the wall and telling him that the way that they do business is not the right way to do business.
Now, Brian, I watched a lot of playoff football this weekend.
I was going to ask you about this.
That's normally something I don't do.
Yeah.
Normally. Like, people ask me, hey, Voch, who you want to go to the Super Bowl? I hope they cancel it because Cowboys ain't in. I don't care who.
I'm like you with this.
I'm drafting now. You know what I'm saying?
I'm totally with you on that.
But I did watch the games, Brian.
Yeah.
And, boy, I remember tweeting, man, it's so funny because I was watching film, Brian. I was like, man, Jeremiah Love sure would fix that double team GP problem, you know what I'm saying? I was just tweeting this shit. I was just minding my business, because if they double team GP, then they shade the lamb. Then like Flo is your wide open guy.
Right.
I would love it if Jeremiah Love was my wide open guy, and then you stack the box to deal with him. I was in la la land on offense, Brian.
Sure.
Started watching these playoff games, Brian.
Change your heart.
And I started watching these young quarterbacks just flop around.
Yeah.
I started watching them flop around. I saw. No matter what happened, I feel like they all threw for like 150 or so.
Sure.
I feel like every last one of them threw for right around less than 200 yards. No matter how many points were on the board, the points came in many different ways, you know what I'm saying? But there were points in these games where I'm like, dog, if my quarterback was in this situation,
sure,
with how their defense is playing right now, we beating the shit out of all these people.
Yeah.
We beating the shit out of all these people. Even like Sam Darnold, they're going to say, oh, Sam Darnold beat the San Francisco 49ers 41-6. Man, Sam was 12 for 17, 224 yards. Mm-hmm. But they ran the ball and they played some damn good defense, bro.
They sure did.
I totally changed my philosophy, man. You got to try to flip this Cowboys defense in one season. You got to try to flip this Cowboys defense from the 39th to at least 15 to 12. At least 15 to 12, Brian.
Very similar to what maybe Jacksonville we were talking about. Jacksonville went from 31 to 11.
So we did some research, Brian.
Yeah.
We did some research on how fast some of these teams can flip. The names that I brought to you were Houston and Seattle.
Right.
Because those were the most dominant ones that I saw this offseason. Right? I was like, man, how long does it take to flip a defense in that way? Houston was 6 last year, you said. They were top 8 last year.
Yeah.
If they number 1 now, okay, cool, that makes sense. They just built upon what they did last year.
Got some guys back healthy.
What was interesting was Seattle, right? I was like, well, Brian, what about Seattle? You told me last year Seattle was at the middle of the pack.
Right.
And all they changed was they added Tank.
Right.
They added like an extra linebacker I never heard of here or there, maybe a corner or whatever. And of course the coach Mike
McDonald,
because there's a Mike McDaniel that's over there that got fired. But Mike McDonald, you bring those guys in and they go from like middle of the road to top 10.
Right.
You said Jacksonville. You said, Voch, look up Jacksonville.
Look up Jacksonville.
And Brian, I started looking around Jacksonville's roster. I said, let me look at Jacksonville's roster. And Dennis Gardeck is some character I never heard of before.
Sure.
Foyesade Oluwakan. Okay, they signed Oluwakan.
Yeah.
Then they signed Jordan Lewis. I know Jordan Lewis, you know what I'm saying? But for the most part, Brian, they got a cool collective of dudes that seem like they could play, mixed in with some cats I never heard of before, and they were 31st last year, you said.
Yeah.
And now they're like 11th in defense.
Yeah.
That's the move, Brian. That's the move right there. And if you could take this Cowboy defense, add some talent to it, you say 5 or 6 starters, build around Quinn and them, even if you go crazy on defense and free agency, still draft defense, Brian. Mm-hmm. Still draft defense. Because just me looking at how these teams played in the postseason, if the Cowboys win any of those games, because we up here, we all got playoff hopes. If the Cowboys were in any of those games, all them teams scoring 60 on us, man.
Right.
But all those teams against each other, they had defenses that kept the offense in the game.
Right.
I changed my tune, Brian. We got to draft all defense. I don't want to look at Jeremiah Love. I don't want to look at none of the offensive tackles. I don't want to look at none of these wide receivers. I don't care if they CeeDee Lamb. You need defense, Brian. And that may be irresponsible of me. That may be window dressing the board of me. But I see the way, Brian, because my offense is already stacked.
Yeah.
It'll make no sense to bring in a new defense coordinator, no matter how good they are, and go, all right, new DC, here's your 5th round.
Let me ask you this again. Here's my question for you.
Please.
New defensive coordinator comes in.
Yeah.
He convinces Jerry and Steven and Will and Shotty to hire him.
For sure.
But he comes in and says, "No, we're cool. We're good. We're good on defense.
Wow.
We've got the personnel to do this."
Man.
Okay.
I feel like
that's gonna hurt your. That's gonna that guy's gonna you're probably gonna get 2. You're gonna get a pick at 20, or it's gonna be a pick at 12 and a pick at 20.
Yep.
You're probably gonna get those 2 picks.
You know what I want him to say?
That can't. I mean, the coordinator and 2 picks. Can't get you from 32 to 11.
I want him to be in the middle, Brian. I want him to be like, hey, we could really do something with Quentin Williams, Kenny Clark, and this Odigizua cat. We can build around those guys.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Maybe we can do something with Bland Overshown, not a bad player.
Mm-hmm.
Man, we need some players, but I do think you have some guys. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got enough guys, but I think Quentin Williams is a fantastic start, at least.
Yeah.
At least. Because when you look at some of these rosters of these dudes that's in the playoffs that's playing good football, man, these dudes ain't like all pro guys, man. They just playing well. Some coach taught them how to play. I remember Kamari Lassiter coming out of Georgia.
Yeah.
I remember him, Brian.
Yeah.
Solid cover guy, couldn't run fast, kind of smart. I ain't think Kamari Lassiter was going to be out here tearing it up like that, Brian. But, man, coaches do that. Mm-hmm. I wonder how many dudes on my team right now, because a coach can say, well, Voch, I feel like I can coach the guys that's on the roster right now. I feel like you could say that.
Yeah.
I feel like you could say that, but I want to know who on this roster that you talking about. Like, show me who you looked at that didn't play great last year, and you look at me and go, Coach, I think I can turn Leofow into a starter. Yeah. I think I can turn Ravel into a starter. I think I can turn Wanye Thomas into a starter. I want to know the guys.
See, this is where my question as you're saying all this is the thing that I was thinking of as you were going through that. Do you want the coach, defensive coordinator, to be a secondary coach.
They got to be. They got to be. Because you're most powerful right now up front.
Yeah.
You're most powerful.
See, that's what I'm saying. You need the most help.
Quentin Williams don't need no more coaching.
That's what I'm saying. If White Cotton stays,
Sure.
Linebacker coach, we'll see how that plays. But Christian Parker,
Yeah.
these guys that are these secondary coaches,
Yep.
do you worry about Christian Parker coming in here and telling you that Bland can't play and Revel can't play?
Nope. I ain't worried about it. Because if he says that, then I believe him. I believe him. He was around when Bradbury and Ringo were projected to be a starter.
Sure.
And I'm sure he looked around and said, hey, man, this ain't the way. This ain't going to happen.
Yeah.
And then they went and they got aggressive drafting corners.
Yeah.
I would have to assume. You know what I'm saying? But on that same token, Adoree Jackson was playing on that defense that was just fine.
Yeah. See, that's the thing that I wonder if you get a new coach in here is and not it in your I think you're right. He's going to look at this team and say, you got some guys that just can't play. Mm-hmm. You have guys here that you think can play. And I wonder if the overhaul is going to happen. Maybe it's not 5. Maybe it's the whole damn defense with the exception of the defensive tackles.
Sure.
You know, and maybe it's like, listen, you're going to bring me in here to coach, but we're not going to be very good because I don't think Ravel could play. I don't think that Bland could play. I don't think that,
who is this?
I don't think Carson can play. I don't think,
In Seattle, I want to know what Mike McDonald thought about Josh Jobe.
Yeah.
I want to know what he thought about Josh Jobe.
Yeah.
Because outside looking in, you're like, yeah, you can get better than Josh Jobe.
Right.
They doing fine with fucking Josh Jobe, you know what I'm saying? Or if you look at right here, I got Buffalo right here, right?
Right.
Just outside looking in, what y'all think about Christian Benford?
Yeah.
At corner.
Bob Babbage, yeah.
I don't know shit about Christian, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't know shit about Christian Benford. Teron Johnson. Last time Voch was watching film, I was trying to go find Teron Johnson.
Yeah.
But they making it work with these guys, bro. So why can't we make it work? Why can't we make it work with Kalen Carson, just some dude on the roster that's around?
Yeah.
That what they doing?
Yeah.
These ain't like all pro corners. I mean Stingley in Houston, but man, they making Lassiter than them work.
Oh no, Lassiter. Look, yeah.
I don't know, Brian. I do think you need to improve the talent, but I don't think you got to get all Pro Bowl type guys. I think the coach gonna have to pull some of that weight. Because your Pro Bowlers are your defensive tackles. Like, those are your guys. And they may not make the Pro Bowl, but your best guys are your tackles right now. Your best guys are your tackles right now. Overshown is, hey, look, he'll be another couple of months away from rehab by the time we'll see where he at. But, man, you need a whole bunch.
See, I'm with you because I'm one of these guys that if I was in the scouting department over there, I would argue, I think we got some guys that can play. Do we have enough?
Some guys.
Some guys. We got some guys.
Donovan got to go. But
yeah.
Well, Wilson got to go. But, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I mean, one of the biggest things we always talk about the Cowboys is they misevaluate their own roster.
Sure.
I would love to see a coach from the outside come in and say, listen, you're not very good here. You're not very good here. You're not okay. You're okay here. I would love to see that to happen. But then again, I worry about another situation where another coach comes in, another defensive coordinator, and then you don't get Maris Leofow play, and you don't get, you get all these guys that another staff brought in and thought they could play and really can't play. I'm with you. I want somebody that's going to come in here and say, hey, man, you don't have a lot of great players. Give me a couple of great players, and I'll try and work with everybody else we have as we fix this thing along.
At that point, if you, Jerry, and Will take the L, you know what I'm saying? Hey, look.
Yeah, you have to admit. You have to look at yourself and say, we didn't do a very good job with this roster.
Didn't work.
We blew a lot of picks. We blew a lot of, second round picks, third round picks. We tried to do some things. Unfortunately, you had a player that passed away that was a second round pick.
Yep.
I mean, it's that part of it's tough. That's part of it's tough.
Got to draft a little bit, Brian.
We do have to draft a little bit.
Elijah Sarratt, wide receiver from Indiana.
Yeah.
Is one of my guys, Brian.
Uh-huh.
Did you invent Pet Cat? Is that something you invented? Or
actually, I learned that from Bill Parcells.
Bill Parcells,
and we would sit in draft meetings, and you'd be glowing about a player.
Yeah.
He'd look over at Jerry and goes, oh, this is one of his pet cats. So that's where we learned the pet cat part of it.
I take it all back. I'll draft Elijah Sarratt, Bryan. I'll take that wide receiver, Elijah Sarratt from Indiana. He's going to be playing in the game tonight versus Miami. We're going to talk about a player that he might run across for Miami. But, Bryan, Elijah Sarratt, me and you talked about him one time. It was off camera. We talked about him a little bit on camera. You called him Keenan Allen. You wasn't wrong.
Yeah.
You wasn't wrong. 6'2", good size to him. He might be like 215 by the time combine come around, something like that, Bryan. Great hands, quarterback friendly. He lines up inside and outside, Bryan. I think he's going to excel as a big slot guy. Route running fool. When I say quarterback friendly, it takes somebody that's smart. Yeah. It takes somebody that knows the nuanced wide receiver things and that's on the same page as whoever your passer is. One thing that I'm going to do, Bryan, in the future when I'm thinking about these wide receivers, I'm going to think about who's throwing him the football.
Yeah.
Because if Mendoza is one of those dice up the defense kind of guys, of course his receivers have to be a guy like that, though, right? I think Sarratt's one of those guys. He doesn't overrun the zones. He knows how to sit down when he's open, shows his numbers, claps his hand. He doesn't wave when he's not open. I love stuff like that, but just a big route runner, Bryan. Like I said, I've seen him work outside and do some vertical things. I don't know how he's going to run, but I don't think he's going to be a fast running guy. But all my favorite wide receivers run 4.5s. All my favorite wide receivers of all time are 4.5 running guys, Bryan. And I think as a hands catcher, as a separator, as a route runner, as a intelligent zone finding wide receiver, I think he's a day one ready kind of guy. I don't know how much like development, that you can add to him or whatnot, but catch radius as well. Like he's not one of those Cardinal Tate jump up but I've seen him reach and snatch some passes down. Like if it's a little overthrown or something like that. Just a damn security blanket, Bryan. He's a Senior Bowl guy, and that's kind of what we're doing, ladies and gentlemen. This is Senior Bowl prep here. I don't think he's going to be doing a whole bunch of Senior Bowl stuff because he's playing a game today.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. But Elijah Sarratt, I got a 2 on him, Bryan. I'm a big fan of him. He's one of my pet cats. He's my first receiver I have in my 2s. You got Tate in your 2s,
right? I
got Tate in my 1s, but he's my 4th wide receiver I got right now.
You know, the thing about with Sarratt is what's so impressive is the way that he is able to the routes across the field.
Yeah.
You know, the when you look at the digs, the slants, the deep overs, you know, this guy makes a ton of plays. And anything that's in breaking, you know, that 6'2", 213 frame you mentioned, there's really the only weakness to this guy's game is his speed, his top-end speed. Yeah, and he might surprise us at the combine, but you're right about what he runs. I do think this player reminds me a lot of Keenan Allen from the Chargers. He makes a lot of clutch plays, a lot of clutch catches. And I will be interested tonight with the national championship game with the Hurricanes and who they have at corner and how they play him tonight, because he is a big part of what Indiana does on offense. And somebody's going to draft this guy, and we're going to talk about, he runs this, runs that, whatever. Just throw on the film. You're right about it. It's just everything about it is super impressive with this player.
Yeah. Keionte Scott, Bryan, he's a guy that lines up in the nickel. So if Sarratt is in the slot, he gonna run into him, maybe, Bryan. He's also gonna be in the championship game tonight. Also a Senior Bowl guy. You may not see him because they playing a game today. But me and you've had some conversations about Keionte Scott off camera, Bryan, and you reached out to one of your partners about him too, Bryan. Why don't you tell us about Keionte Scott, the cornerback?
You know, the question I have about Scott, Voch, is that I wonder if this guy is a strong safety.
Sure.
And I wonder. And my scouting buddy who does the Canes said, I'd leave him at corner. I would leave him at corner in a slot player. But he goes, I totally understand what you're seeing here, Bryan. And he's a weapon in the way that he plays, because the way that they use him around the line of scrimmage is because of the nose for the ball. And there's that toughness element to his game. He's going to blitz. He's going to make big plays when it's necessary. You watch games that he's played. He's forced fumbles. He's made tackles late in the game for a loss that got them the ball back. He's one of the better run defenders I've seen in the draft season when it comes to these defensive backs and the way that they've played. He's got a feel for how to blow up blockers in order to get to the ball. He's a natural blitzer. He's got timing. He's got burst. He is a feel for how to win off the edge to attack the pocket. So, you could look at how he plays. It has a feel for the zone coverage and his eyes. We saw the pick six against Ohio State in the Cotton Bowl. I mean, it's just you don't see him play outside all that much. Everything is in the slot, at linebacker, down the box. So it reminded me very much of how we used to see with Dan Quinn when he would play with that big nickel. Or the big, well, actually not nickel, big dime. I mean, he would take that safety, and it's really not big. He'd take the safety and play dime and play him as a dime linebacker. This is the type of guy that Dan Quinn would absolutely love in that role. And so, I was talking to guys about him. Auburn, he's a double transfer. He went to Snow Junior College and then went to Auburn and then went to Miami. And I was talking to people about him in the transition he made from Auburn to Miami, and they said they tried to play him on the outside at Auburn, and it just didn't work out. Yeah. And so I guess Miami saw him and saw his playmaking ability.
Should you knock him for that if he's not versatile enough to play outside or play a bunch of man? Because think about this. I got a 2 on him, right, because of his play. Yeah. But if you can only play him in one spot, is he really a 2?
See, that's the thing that the things you remember when Tyrann Mathieu came in the league with Tyrann Mathieu out of LSU. You didn't see Tyrann Mathieu was kind of a safety, but he played corner, but he played linebacker, but he played, and Tyrann Mathieu just made plays. Yeah. And I think there's a spot for guys like this. I'm not gonna ding him at safety. Yeah, and I'm thinking like, listen, if you play a lot of single high stuff and you want to play this guy down, I do feel like this guy's got that kind of ability to cover. I just don't see him playing on the outside. And if teams have tried him on the outside and he's not, is second round pick too rich for a guy that? I don't think it's too rich for a guy that makes plays. That would be my argument. You guys could, this is the argument you would sit in a draft room and go, yeah, sure. You guys put him wherever you want. Put him in the 3rd, 4th round. But watch this guy come in the league and make plays.
Because this was going to be interesting. We're not here yet.
No.
Then you started to go Keionte Scott versus Ramsey, the safety from USC.
Right.
Or Keionte Scott versus McNeil Warren from Tulsa.
Right. Toledo.
Yeah. If Scott is just it might be worse if he's just a safety.
Right.
I got a bunch of guys at safety that I like over him.
Right.
Keionte Scott's gonna be an interesting development, Brian. We're gonna keep on talking about him.
To me, okay, we've talked about we're going to look at the speaking of players. Mm-hmm. That we're going to study.
Senior Bowl guys safeties. Yes,
Senior Bowl guys safeties, but guys that are playing the game tonight. Mm-hmm. Ponds.
Yes, sir.
Ponds.
Pondtown. Yes.
Ponds from Indiana. There's a 5'9". There's a 174-pound guy right there.
Kind of sort of, yep.
But you watch him play and you're like thinking, like, okay,
what he does is different than what's going on here.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, though. Yeah. But you talk about guys that don't play really one thing, and then you talk about, wait a minute, as compared to maybe a smaller guy who kind of does a little bit of everything. I mean, when these secondaries, I'm just trying to find players that can make plays.
Sure.
That's my whole objective now. I mean, we've got a bunch of these corners that could all cover and do things. But how many of them go out and tackle? How many of them force turnovers? How many?
Keionte Scott's definitely a ball player that makes plays. Yeah. But if he's in the nickel and he's manned up against Sarratt, I think Sarratt beats the shit out of him.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think so.
Yeah.
We're gonna keep on talking.
Oh no,
we're gonna watch the game and come back.
Yeah, oh no, absolutely.
Because he's gonna make plays in that game.
There's no question he's gonna make plays in the game.
But what do you do, Brian? Moving on, we got Emmanuel Pregnon. It can't just be Pregnon, right?
No.
It got to be French sounding, right? Pregnon.
Yeah, Pregnon.
Pregnon.
I think is what you would say.
The offensive lineman from Oregon, Brian. The first note that I have here is, he's Vega, but he moves a little better laterally.
Uh-huh.
I think that's where we at with it, right? I'm watching Pregnon. They're in that same kind of category as boxy, strong guard, movie, powerful, mauly. The team asked him to move a little bit more than I want him to move. Mm-hmm. But I think Pregnon is a little less over his shoulders. You know what I'm saying? Most of these evaluations too, Brian, sometimes what I'll do is I'll just take two guys that may be touching tags and just kind of like compare them a little bit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So if you got two boxy, powerful, run gamey, run you over kind of guys, and Pregnon and Vega Ione from Penn State. Yeah. Now I'm comparing them a little bit. I think Pregnon's feet are a little better moving sideways, not significantly, because he got some weird little stiffness to his hips too.
Sure.
But I think he does have some sideways movement. I think he's a better pass blocker as well than Ione, because he picks up his feet a little bit better. The turning, they both don't turn all that well.
Right.
But if I had to kind of separate them a little bit, I think Pregnon's arms maybe a little bit longer too. Mm-hmm. I've seen him kind of separate and stack guys up a little bit, but as far as a combo guy, moving people, climbing to the second level, not as much.
Right.
Not as much. Outside zone stuff, not as much. Screens, not as much. But it depends on your system. If you're mauling guys, then fine. You're mauling people. This is something that me and you gonna talk about a little bit, Brian. Are these tackles that are guards, or they maybe end up being guards? Where do you rank those guys versus these guys? We talked about Jennings Dunker from Iowa.
Right.
I got him at tackle. He probably gonna be a guard.
Yeah.
Right? He just doesn't have the range to play tackle.
Right.
I do think Dunker would be a good athlete at guard, though.
Okay.
So if you got three mauly guards in Dunker, Pregnon, and Ione.
Did you already go ahead and put him at guard on your board?
Dunker?
Yeah.
I got him at tackle because I think teams are going to try him at tackle first.
Right.
But if it goes bad, put him at guard. And I might end up just putting him at guard because I don't see him playing tackle at all with his arm length and the lack of range or whatever. So I might just put Dunker at guard. But if I do put Dunker at guard, Dunker would be my best guard because I think he would then move better than these guys.
Yeah.
Because he's also like a physical, mauly type dude, and he's a little less stiff. Pregnon and Ione literally look like this, Brian. They look like big squares.
Yeah, big square guys. Yeah.
And they can't move. It's not a lot to their game, man. So if you got guard, and look, typically guards like this don't even go in the second round. They fall to 3 and 4, whatever. I got a 2 on him. I got him higher than Ione, and if I put Dunker at guard, I put him under that.
I got him higher than Ione myself there at Penn State, and I think this guy's a double transfer, by the way. Wyoming and USC. He's played a ton of snaps everywhere he's been. Yeah. So the experience is there. I think the biggest problem with this guy is that he does, well, I say this. Let me tell you the positive. I think the power and the anchor are impressive as a pass protector. Yep. Hard to run over the top of this guy. The punch, the halted defender. Where he's going to have problems is when he has to deal with better or quicker athletes. That's going to be the issue here.
Because they're stiff.
He's stiff. He's absolutely a stiff moving player. But the experience and strength, somebody will take a chance on this guy. 6'5", he's 318 pounds. And but I kind of felt like that you mentioned about the leaning, he gets over the tops of his feet a little bit. Yep. I think that kind of gets him knocked off track as well. So the issues of the forward lean and then maybe having to deal with quicker defenders could be a big issue for him.
Yeah, this is easy evaluation. I ain't got a whole bunch to say about him. You know what I mean? Him and Vega Ione are very similar.
Very similar players.
They ain't twins, but they like cousins. You know what I mean?
Right.
Now, Brian, I think this last guy, I think we gotta really, figure him out a little bit. We gotta really have a conversation about him. I think there's a little more to his game that needs to be figured out. Let me just ask, what round you got Dani Dennis-Smith in from Penn State? Let me just ask you that first.
Hold on 1 second, I'll tell you that.
Dani Dennis-Sutton.
Sutton,
the edge from Penn State.
Hold on one second here. I'm looking at my edges right now.
What round you got him in? Then we'll talk.
Actually have him in the third round.
I got a 3-2, please. All right, go ahead, Brian. Tell us about Dani Dennis-Smith.
Okay, as I get to that. I'm figuring out this technology. Yeah, Dani Dennis-Sutton.
Sutton.
Smith.
I wrote down Smith.
Sutton. 6'5", 265. He ideally, he looks what a defensive end's supposed to look like. He's a long arm guy. He's got length. He's got some initial quickness off the snap, but he doesn't do this all the time. Mm-hmm. There is some times where he is late off the ball, and I think this is a flash player. I really do. And he looks the part, but he always doesn't play the part. I don't know what his pass rush plan really is. It's somewhat predictable. It's more power than it is counters. And when he gets stuck, it happens to him way too much. He stays stuck. The pad level tends to get a little high. Linemen can kind of get underneath him. He gets controlled. I think that this is going to sound wild. If you're a 3-4 or an odd front team, this might be a 5 technique defensive end. And I say this with power hands, 2-gap type of a player. I don't know necessarily. He doesn't play like these bendy guys that we're talking about. He does play with power. You could see it through his hands. He's a player that you can see can be physical on the edge. He could play the run, maybe even kick inside and play some defensive tackle stuff for you. But that's where he's really going to help a defense initially. I just don't think he figured things out as a pass rusher. And I think people want him to be a pass rusher. But 6'5", 265, he is a pretty looking player. The problem is, though, as a pass rusher, he doesn't always show that. So I put him there in the third round.
Sometimes he's a good run guy. Very strong.
Yeah.
Great extension. Active enough. Well, I don't see him loafing a whole bunch. Sometimes he look lost, though.
Yep.
He gets moved around when his pad level gets high.
Yeah.
Solid as a power rusher. Sometimes that boy really be putting them power moves together. I wrote this.
Yeah.
Sometimes the boy really put them power moves together. Bull rush, power punches.
Yeah.
Not really the bendy type. Kind of stiff. Oh, shit, never mind. He just ran down the middle of somebody 30 times. You got him. He's a sometimes guy.
Yeah, see, that's the thing that he is one of those guys that he teases you in the way he plays because you feel like is he better suited to play in a scheme, as I mentioned, where he could 2-gap and not have to be this pass rusher, or does he get with somebody that teaches him? But what's the one thing we've learned about Penn State over the years?
They kind of put those guys together.
They put those guys.
Their best pass rushers are their linebackers, and their ends are just like the.
Well, how about the guy with the Giants? And I mean, we've seen over the years that they've put these edge rushers into the league, and here's another one that looks just as good looking as. But
Jason Owe was another one.
Yeah, but then all of a sudden you're kind of looking at him and you're going, wait a minute, why is he not? And he looks like he's better suited to play in another scheme than to play as a guy on the edge and be that. You're right. I mean, just the down the middle, it's all power. There's no, where's the moves? Where's the counter moves? Where's the slap, swim, all that stuff?
But Brian, sometimes though.
And watch, he's going to get in the league and he's going to be. You had me looking at a guy too. You had me looking at another guy for the for the Senior Bowl stuff with that Gabe Jacobs.
He's another one. I got to follow on him though.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
a Senior Bowl guy, this Gabe Jacobs. I know we'll get into it, but there were a couple of these guys that like they're 6'3", 270,
strong as hell,
good looking. I mean, but where's the bend? Where's the rush? Where's the power? I mean. I know we're going to talk about Jacobs, and people are like, oh, he had 12. People go, Broaddus, he had 12 sacks.
He stumbled into them, and he ran free on a lot
Big Ten, 12 sacks in the Big Ten. I went back. I'm like, okay, let me see where these sacks came. 6.5 sacks in the last 4 games. Rutgers, Maryland, Wisconsin, Northwestern.
Yep.
There's something to that. Yeah. You ain't sacking Michigan and USC Oregon and Ohio State, and you're not doing that. So those are the games that, to me, when I'm watching these guys, and you're always talking about competition, why is he not beating
them dudes?
The Ohio State left tackle.
Yeah.
You know that who we're gonna talk about here. Why is he not beating that guy?
Sure.
You know, why is he not beating the guy at Washington or Michigan or one of those places?
Sure.
Those are the problems that I run into with these guys like this.
You ain't wrong, Brian. Dani Dennis-Sutton.
Yeah.
Very interesting. And look, something else about him too, Brian. It's like he'll get sacks from like from the 7.
Yeah.
They'll line him up a little wide and he'll fool you a little bit.
Yeah.
If you watch highlight tapes, he'll fool you, Brian.
Well, he'll fool you,
He'll make you feel like he an outside rusher, man.
Yeah.
He'll make you feel that way. Mm-hmm. Very sometimes, guys. Very good show, Brian, brother. We covered a lot of shit today, but appreciate y'all tapping in with us, please. Y'all just go in the comments and just talk about anything. Talk about if you would draft an offensive player. Talk about these coaching developments and all this kind of stuff. Or tell us about these.
It's interesting
though.
It's interesting though. You've your thoughts now about the defense.
Oh man, you got to be able to play defense with these, especially in the postseason.
Yeah,
you got to
stops.
Yeah, even if you give up 28 points.
Yeah.
You got to get a stop somewhere.
You got to get a stop somewhere.
You got to get a stop somewhere.
Yeah. Rams got him an interception.
The Rams got to stop. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So even if you're not a shutdown defense, man, give me a stop somewhere. Yeah. But yeah, that's what it is, though. Appreciate y'all for tapping in. Give us your thoughts and opinion. CrownGlobalMedia.com. That's where you find all the work at, the links to the merch, the different shows that we're doing. Appreciate y'all for tapping in. Still Crown Global Media on Twitter.
Yeah, we're trying.
And we'll just figure it out. And I'm Voch Lombardi on Twitter. I love y'all to pieces. We'll catch y'all next time, all right? Tomorrow we got questions from Brian or something. We'll recap what we saw in the championship game. All right? Crown.